Good morning, good morning, good morning. So happy to be back in class today. All right, today we are going to cover 5.5, which is modeling. Okay, so I know last week was kind of a struggle, and that's all right. And when you're in class, whether it be today or tomorrow, I'm going to review some of this stuff. But the biggest thing is, just take your time and remember the ways that you can solve these problems. It's the same way that we've done in like Unit 1 with solving equations and that stuff. Don't forget about your resources. You have your iBook, you have Google, you have me, you have the videos that I've made, you've got YouTube. So, utilize your resources as best as possible and always reach out if you're having questions. Okay, so let's just take a look. Choose the best method to solve the following. Notice in the directions it says do not solve. All right, so in this first example, we have an equation where y is isolated, and then they've got that, right? Well, anytime that you have a variable isolated, the best method to do is probably going to be substitution. Okay. Second one, you got basically two equations in standard form, right? So you could rearrange them if you want to, but the best way here is where you multiply both sides, right? So this is going to be elimination is the best way to solve this one. All right. And then last one, again, same way, it's up to you. You could certainly graph this, but then you have this big 300 that would be tough to put on a graph unless it's really back. So I would argue this is, again, elimination. Okay, easiest way to solve both of those. All right, so let's go ahead on, and basically in this first example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to structure it so that you can see if you're really having a hard time solving these, how to at least set it up to make sure that your examples are getting partial credit at the very minimum, especially when it comes time to take the test next week. All right, so in the first one, it says the sum of two numbers is negative 15. And the difference of those two numbers is negative 10. Find the two numbers. So that's the actual problem. That's the word problem here, is what's read right here. The sum of two numbers is negative 15. The difference of these two numbers is negative 10. So we want to find what the two numbers are. So the very first thing is we have two numbers that we have to find. Well, some students like to say x and x, but the problem with that is we don't, if you say x and x, that means they have to be the same number. We don't know that that is the case. So we're going to say x and y, okay, because we need two completely separate numbers. Okay, what are the equations? All right, well, let's do the top one. The sum, which means addition, of two numbers is negative 15. So x plus y equals negative 15. Okay, the difference of these two numbers is negative 10. Difference is minus. So x minus y is negative 10. Okay. Now, what method are we going to use to solve this? Well, since they're both written in standard form with the variables on the same side, and since we have two opposites, I'm going to use elimination. Why? Because they're in standard form. And because it's going to be very easy to simplify this one. So there's not a lot of space here, but let's go ahead and solve it. X plus y equals negative 15. X minus y equals negative 10. Okay, so now let's just add them, and we can do that. We don't have to multiply because we already have two opposites. So x plus x is 2x. Positive y and a negative y gives me a 0. And then these two numbers combined give me negative 25. Did I do that right? Yeah. Okay, so let me make sure here. The sum of two numbers is negative 15. The difference of two numbers is negative 10. Yep. Well, we're just not gonna get a pretty number here, but that's okay. So what I end up with is 2x equals negative 25. What was the guiding question? Divide by 2. Sorry, got a little distracted there. Divide by 2. X equals negative 12.5. All right, so now we're going to take that number and we're going to plug it back into one of these formulas. So x plus y equals negative 15. I'm going to replace the x with the negative 12.5. Okay, we'll add that to the other side now because it's negative and we want to get y by itself. And that gives me that y equals a negative 2.5. So there you go. So what's our answer? Negative 12.5, comma, negative 2.5. Done. Okay, so that's how you use elimination. All right, so take a moment here. Go ahead and try 1B. And then once you're done, check your work. Okay, hopefully you've paused the video at this point and tried it on your own. I'm going to go ahead and set it up first here. To find the value of two numbers if their sum is 21. So x plus y, 21. And their difference is 5. Okay, again, I have two opposites, so that makes it nice and easy. I'm just going to add them. That gives me 2x equals 26. Divide by 2. X equals 13. Perfect. Now I get to plug that back in. So x plus y equals 21, but instead of x, I'm going to replace that with a 13. Subtract 13 from both sides in this case because it's positive. Y is 8. So our solution, 13, 8 is what you should have had. Okay, gonna keep moving along here for you. 2A, your family receives basic cable television and 1 movie channel for $39 a month. Your neighbor receives free basic cable and 2 movie channels for $45.50 a month. What is the monthly charge for basic cable? Remember, set up a system of equations first. Okay, basic cable and 1 movie channel. So let's do C plus M, just because I want to switch up the variables. Doesn't really matter which variables you use. C plus M equals 39. Your neighbor receives basic cable and 2 movie channels for $45.50. Okay, what is the charge for monthly cable? All right, so no opposites here, so you got a couple ways to do it. You can use substitution, you can graph them, you can use elimination. If we use elimination, which is what I'm going to use, I'm just going to multiply by a -1, because if I do that, then I'll have opposite C values here. Okay, so that gives me a negative C, gives me a negative M, and it gives me a negative 39. So it just changes the sign. And I don't know why I put this line underneath. Okay, so now at this point, I don't truly need this top anymore, right? I need these two equations now. Okay, so I have these opposite C's, which give me a 0. 2m minus m just gives me m. And 45.5 minus 39 gives me 6.5, or 650. Okay, so that tells you right there your m is 650. So that's your movie channel. That's how much per movie channel. Okay, so how much is basic cable? That's what it wants to know. Not your movie, right? So we want to know how much is C. Okay, well if m is 650, let's see, we had C plus m equals 39. So if m is 650, now we subtract that 650, and you get that C is $32.5 per month. That's your basic cable. That's what they want. Okay, you go ahead and try 2B, and then pause the video and come back to it when you're done. Okay, hopefully you've paused the video again, tried it out on your own. Here we go. 124 golf bags. The shipment includes 2 types of bags, full size and collapsible. The full size cost is $38.50 each, and collapsible is $22.50 each. The bill for the shipment is $3,430. Okay, so here's the problem. We got 2 different totals here. we got a total in cash, and we have the total number of bags, right? Okay, so if we have full size and regular bags, collapsible, I'm sorry, then that's going to be our first thing. So we have full size plus collapsible. We got 124 bags. Then the next part is we have a cost, right? So I need to have something with the full and the collapsible, but with cost. Well, it says right there the full size cost is $38.50. And the collapsible is $22.50. Okay. All right, so we just set up our equations. Okay, well, these are clearly not going to be easy to do. And if I use elimination, which it's in standard form, so that might be easiest, but if I use elimination, then I'm multiplying by a weird number, right? So I'm actually going to use substitution in this case because I can do this in the top one. If I subtract f from both sides, okay, or c, doesn't matter. Actually, let's just do c. Makes it easier. So minus c from both sides. So now I have f equals a negative c plus 124. So now I have a very easy problem to substitute for f. Okay, so I'm going to plug that in. So 3850 times negative c plus 124 plus the 2250c equals 3,430. Okay, so now it's just a problem where you got to go through and solve it. So I have distribute, whatever that is. Need a calculator for that. Let's see, 124. Come on. Times 3850 is 4,774 plus 2250c, okay, which gives me, let's see, it would be 3850, a negative 3850 combined with 2250 gives me negative 16, so this is negative 16c plus 4,774 equals 3,430. Okay, then we're going to subtract. Okay, so 3430 minus 4774. Okay, so negative 16c equals negative 1,344, and then divide by negative 16. So c divided by 16. It should have been a negative 16 as well, which would give you a positive 84. So 84 collapsible bags. Okay, so then how many full-size bags? Well, I'm going to take it, plug it back in right here. So F is negative 84 plus 124. So 124 minus 84, which is 40. Okay, so you have 84 collapsible, 40 full-size bags. Okay, so a little bit more work there. It had some weird numbers and some decimals, but not terrible if you just follow along the same steps and use a calculator. All right, very last one here. Antonio has 40 pennies and quarters. Okay, there's a total. And he had $2.08. Find the number of pennies and quarters. Okay, so it doesn't give us a lot, but remember, it's pennies and quarters. We know how much those are worth, right? So we have pennies and quarters. They're a total of 40. Plus, we can factor in the point saying that they are $2.08. Okay, 208. So how much are pennies worth? They're worth 0.01. How much are quarters worth? 0.25. So there you go. All right, so this one, why don't we do this one with elimination? So again, working with decimals just like the last one, but we're just going to eliminate. So this one, I'm going to multiply it times a negative 0.25. Okay, and that's gonna basically match up these quarters, right? Okay, so that gives me negative 0.25p minus 0.25q equals 40 times 0.25 is going to be 10 because it's just a quarter of it, and that'll be negative 10. Okay, let's keep going here. So now I have a negative 20.24 for pennies. We have 0 for quarters, and 10 minus 208 gives me 792, negative 792. Okay, so now I have this negative 0.24p equals negative 7.92. Then I got to divide by negative 0.24, divide by negative 0.24. So the number of pennies is 33. So we have 33 pennies. Okay, so 33 plus the number of quarters gives me 40 coins in total, tells me that the number of quarters is 7. So we have 33 pennies, 7 quarters. Okay, so maybe even a little bit easier to actually multiply it there. You just got to know what you're multiplying by. In this case, we did not multiply by a whole number. That's all. Okay, so you got an exit ticket here. Go ahead and try the rest. You can see that the answers are down here at the bottom. Okay, so check your work when you're done, but for full credit, you must submit your work with your equation setup, your process of solving, and your final answer. All right, let me know if you have any questions.